when everybody was very curious when we saw Prime Minister Modi gift the Bhagavad Gita to President Putin.
Right.
I hesitate in gifting anything of religious value, whether it's the Gita or a Ganesha statue or anything, because I don't know that the home that it is going in, it will be given the same kind of respect and I don't know what that home is like. So I hesitate in doing that, but not everybody has that.
Correct.
It's fine. I appreciate whoever does that too. But he gave it, and there was a lot of talk that he's a war president. Why would you give the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, a religious doctrine, to President Putin? The way I saw it is that the Bhagavad Gita is not just a religious book, it's also a war doctrine. When I said that, I got a lot of criticism that it's not a war doctrine. What are you saying? The Bhagavad Gita is different for different people. And even for a single person, it can give meaning of different things in different times of one's life. I'm talking too much, but I'm just
No worries.
telling you where I am coming from
Sure.
and why I'm asking you this question, because lots of people wondered. Of course, there was no explanation given to anybody as to why he chose it to give it to President Putin and whether President Putin has read through the entire thing or not. But there is a picture of him with the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in Russia, in Moscow.
Right.
So I want to ask you that what do you think was in his mind when he gifted that to President Putin?
Okay.
I mean, just to hazard a guess.
How I would look at it without having to read the mind, or just how I look at it. In my travels across the world, I have a altar, puja, worship altar that I carry with me.
Yes, I read in the book too.
Yes, so I carry it with me everywhere. And in the Vaishnava tradition, we have what is called as a Shaligram Shila. Shaligram Shila is considered a manifestation of Vishnu or Krishna, and it has natural markings, comes from the Gandaki river in Nepal. So I have a Shaligram Shila who goes with me everywhere I go, and every morning for an hour and a half I have my worship and all of that I do, any part of the world, right? Now, in India, when the security personnel, when the bag goes through the X-ray machine,
My father had to do that too.
when the bag goes through the X-ray machine, in India, most people will ask us to open the bag. My team will open the bag up, and then when they see Shaligram Shila, most people they know it. Even someone who's not of the Hindu faith will know it, right? And when they see me, they've already seen me, and they love me regardless of what faith and what doesn't matter, because humanity transcends all of these things. Wisdom transcends faiths. Life transcends faith. So people have that kind of a connect. So usually they wouldn't kind of question or want to kind of. Most people wouldn't want to hold it, the chilla in
because
their
they're wearing
hands.
shoes.
They're wearing shoes. They've probably gone to the restroom, and they know that you would have a certain standard in this worship. So when I travel overseas, though, that's not the case. This is a young American security officer, and he asked me to open the box, and I opened the box. He said, I want to hold him. So I said, yeah, fine, no problem.
Oh.
He held him. He's a security officer. He's anyways going to take the Shaligram Shila, right? Whatever you carry, if he has any security concerns, no one is an exception. So and I don't make exceptions as well. I am just another person, a traveler. Why should I be made an exception? I am as much subject to security checks as anybody else in the country or in the world. So he held that Shaligram Shila in his hand, and my Shila also opens up, so it's the Sudarshan, the chakra inside. So he said, oh, this is a fantastic fossil, ammonites. He said, so you collect ammonites. So in the US also you have ammonites from which have these kind of patterns. Yeah, keep it, no worries, take it. So I packed the bag back. For a split second, I had this question in my mind, like not question, but this discomfort, feeling of discomfort in my mind that, he's probably used the restroom. He may not have even washed his hands, I don't know. And thankfully he was wearing gloves, but I don't know what those gloves have been through. And trust me, the very next moment I thought, when in his life would he be holding a Shaligram Shila?
Yeah.
The power of holding something so sacred. Cleanliness and lack of cleanliness is for us, not for someone divine or not for something divine. You know, our mindsets, good or bad, are for us, not for something divine. So when he held the Shaligram Shila in his hand, came back to our ashram and I told some of my friends in the ashram the story, and I said to them, I said, as I boarded the flight, I had actually deep gratitude in my heart that the Shaligram Shila, because I have this faith, audience need not have this, but this is a point to make. I felt that Shaligram Shila chose to go in his hands to give him an opportunity to hold him, right? And that made my mindset completely different. Rather than cribbing and complaining that why did he do this, was he clean or not? The Shila is beyond standards of cleanliness or not lack of cleanliness. It's divine, spiritual. There is a vibe in it. And probably he got to experience whether he realized, whether he didn't realize, deep somewhere in his soul, that connect happened. Gita is no exception. Gita is a spiritual book, right? It is a spiritual book with a very divine spiritual energy. Tremendous spiritual Shakti, right? Whether I understand yet or not, whether I consider it a war doctrine or I consider it to be a spiritual book, I consider it religious or spiritual, whatever I consider is, there may be 100 interpretations on it.
Sure.
We will all have our interpretation. That's fine too. We will all have multiple interpretations on whether we should look at it spiritual or religious, war or not war, and multiple ways of looking at it. At the same time, can't do away with the fact that there is tremendous spiritual Shakti in the book coming from the words of Sri Krishna. Those words carry power. Sound is an energy, right? Sound exists, and that sound manifests in the form of words. Those words manifest in the form of ink, letters written with ink or printed with ink on paper today. Which is why Vedic sound was called Shabda Brahma, spiritual sound. Even today, a lot of times we would listen to even modern monks, like very modern. I'm very modern, of course. I'm very urban in my language and my jargon. Even in my book, if you read,
Yes.
very modern and contemporary. But even I can say this, that when you sit in silence, you start listening to, initially you probably just start listening to the sounds in your mind. There's a lot of demons we start facing and all of that. And as the deeper you go into that state of silence, you start listening to a sound or something which is beyond, connecting to something that's beyond. Because a Shabda, that sound exists. The divine sound, whether you call it God's sound or call it the sound, the energy of the universe, whatever you call it. Subject to how people take it. But the fact of the matter is this, that you can connect to it. And that's the sound now manifested in the form of ink printed on paper, which we call the Bhagavad Gita. To us it might be paper, ink, words, language, verses, translations, interpretations, bound, the beautiful cover with a picture of Krishna and Arjuna on top of the book, Bhagavad Gita on top of it. Let's probably look at this premise that there's a Shakti, spiritual Shabda sound in there. So when somebody holds that, right, there is an influence of that spiritual sound on us. You go to a hospital, madam, right? The hospital is kind of, nobody goes there and celebrates. Does anybody celebrate in a hospital? We don't celebrate. Hospital is a place of anxiety. You go to see somebody, a patient, everybody's sitting there anxious. Somebody's in the ICU, the relatives are sitting anxious. Somebody's in the operation theatre, the relatives are sitting there anxious. You know what? That entire collective energy of anxiety is created by the people who are sitting there, right? They are all anxious collectively. That's the Shakti there, right? You go to a discotheque or a pub. The energy is not that of anxiety. The energy is that of celebration, dance, joy. And that entire energy is created by whom? Not the bricks and the walls. It's created by the people who are letting that energy out into the space. You go to the stock market. The energy is not that of a meditation. The energy is that of money, trading. Because everybody there is letting out the same energy in the structure made of brick, cement and steel. You go to a temple, an ashram, a mosque, a church, a synagogue. you will see that there is a different kind of energy because it's created by the people who are there. So if you go to that place, you can sense energy. You can sense the power that's coming, positive or negative both, in that place. You may have probably gone to somebody and you might have felt that although nobody said anything, you felt unwelcome. You could sense the energy. And sometimes nobody's saying anything to you, but you feel very welcomed, loved, connected. So we sense those energies. Energies influence us, correct? And keep spirituality aside, look at these real life examples. That we all get influenced by energies around us. So Gita, can you imagine divine energy in the form of sound in that book? Although we can't hear it, the energy pervades that book. So anybody who holds that book will in some way, shape or form, somewhere, something, that energy does influence us, does get to us, probably makes us a bit reflective for a moment. Who knows?
Sure, he may take the decision not to, or to end the war, based on what he gets from the book.
Makes us reflective for a moment. Maybe we may read a verse from there, and that verse and read the translation, and suddenly that translation might just start speaking volumes to us more than anything else. We don't know. Those moments of epiphany that we get in those moments, we don't know, right? It's like this. You have the text and then you have the context, right? And it's the context that gives a lot of meaning to the text. Like I read the Gita several times when I joined the ashram and today. The text is exactly the same.
But your takeaway.
But my context has changed. My life has moved on. The way I am dealing with the world is different. Compared to how I was, probably my life more earlier was more in isolation. Now my life is a lot in integration. So the same text speaks in very different ways. Which is why it's a living book. You know, it's not like a line on stone.
No, yes.
It's like
I get that.
It's like the current of a river. When you say it's a line on a stone, it's frozen.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा.
The issue is टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है.
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दो?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब.
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप.
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI. It does not lie.